Cliff Curtis of Fear the Walking Dead has signed on to be in all 4 Avatar sequels. So an actor that we don't really care about from a TV show that we don't really care about has signed on to be on all 4 of the movies that we're not sure we care about.
Exactly.
Nerdy news.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I like Cliff Curtis. I just don't like Fear the Walking Dead, and I really can't give a shit about Avatar.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you like Fear the Walking Dead? I haven't jumped the gun. I just kind of stopped with The Walking Dead, and I never really got around to Fear the Walking Dead. So I don't know if there was a legit reason or what.
Yeah, no, Fear the Walking Dead should have been spectacular. The premise should have been a different show than it wound up being. Because you have The Walking Dead, which is a show about normal people surviving in the zombie apocalypse. So if you want to have a spin-off, you have to have a different premise. And in the Fear the Walking Dead case, the different premise is that they're on the other coast. And really what it should have been is is instead, because in Walking Dead, if you haven't seen it, this is episode 1 stuff, so no big deal. But the main character wakes up 90 days or something after the zombie apocalypse. I forget the exact timing of it, but he wakes up after the initial push and failure of humanity and sort of by chance meets up with the group that has the rest of the people he knows in it. In Fear the Walking Dead, I feel like it would have been a much better show if they had spent more time in that fall of humanity, in the military taking over cities and the sort of tension that comes from that and the fear and the riots and all of that, and hold off on the zombies being in the forefront, have them in the background, have them be myth, have them be rumor, and sort of focus on that humanity aspect and that conflict. But instead they did the same thing. They build right up to that moment, and then there was like a 14-day jump ahead, and suddenly the military is running things and we're beyond that. And I wanted more of that. I wanted more of the conflict. I wanted more of what we were missing from The Walking Dead, and now they've skipped it and we're back into the same territory of The Walking Dead.
That probably could have been like a good season too. Like that's not something small. Like they could have just burned a whole season and gotten a whole season out of them, zombies in the background again. I mean, they're in the background regardless of,
No, they are. And I really, for the format of that show, I think they should be, but they've sort of again eliminated the threat of the zombies. Like in Walking Dead, they're not afraid of the zombies, even when there's a huge mass of them, because if you're central to the plot, you're always going to get out of it. And in Fear the Walking Dead,
they're afraid of them. We're not afraid of them.
Yeah, no, exactly. But in Fear the Walking Dead, they just kind of got on a boat, and now we're just driving around in a boat, and there's zombies on that island. Well, okay, don't go there. Oh, we're just going to keep going past that island. Okay, that's good advice. There's no threat.
Insert Lonely Island music here.
I'm on a boat and it's going fast, and I got an article theme, pass me the Afghan.
But yeah, so when I saw Fear the Walking Dead, I was still into Walking Dead at that point. I was actually okay with it. And I was like, oh, cool, because we've discussed this before. I love backstories. We know I love to find out what happened before. So I was like, this is an interesting thing. We're going to find out how the zombie apocalypse occurred. What was the instance? What was the, patient zero? How did the infection happen? How did it spread? What did it look like as law enforcement reacted, as governments reacted, blah, blah, blah. We didn't get any of that.
Nope.
They jumped us right into zombies, which was essentially basically The Walking Dead. I mean, Rick wakes up and they're in the, heat of the zombie battle, so it's more or less the same thing. And we talked about why did we like The Walking Dead in the first place. You care about the characters, right? That's what get you
That's exactly
into
it.
the show. And then as they've killed off some main characters, they keep introducing people that we don't invest in because we're not sure if they're gonna, live or die. And I think that almost hurt the Fear the Walking Dead because I'm not invested in these characters.
No, not at all. And they did nothing to make you invest in them.
Maybe it's because they're not as good a character, but maybe it's because I also think, they're a bunch of them are gonna die anyways.
Right.
So it never really did any of what it set out to do. It didn't get me invested in it. It didn't tell any backstory. It's like Kevin said, it's Walking Dead on the West Coast. And I'm like, I really was kind of almost done with The Walking Dead anyway, so I don't really want to see a different version of the same thing where they have legal pot. The only difference between the West Coast and the East Coast.
It's tans and fish tacos.
Right, exactly. So, anyways, yeah.
No, I know.
So I shouldn't see it.
Give it a miss. Stream it when it's available, so you can skip the parts you don't need.
Who am I to say? Really, Jules, who am I to say? Just the guy with a podcast.